The NFC South was once again a division marked by mediocrity and inconsistent play, but it looks like things are on the up and up for some of the teams in the division. In today's video, I'll be making my predictions for the NFC South and see how each team will fare for this upcoming season. I was wrong in my predictions last year, so let's see if I can improve myself. Now before we get started, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos like this one. And without further ado, y'all know what time it is. Who that? What's new, IJ crew? It's your boy IJ here, back with another video. All glory to God as always. And like I stated earlier, today I'll be going over and making my predictions for the NFC South for this upcoming season. Now before we get into things, I just want to lay a few groundworks on how I made my predictions. I looked at each team's schedule and I went through and predicted each game to see how things will go for all the teams in the division. And after I talk about each team, I'll provide one big question that I have for each of them, and I'll provide a little hot take just for the fun of it. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Last season, the Atlanta Falcons went 8-9 in the NFC South, finishing one game below 500 and narrowly missing out on the NFC title. In his first season with the Falcons, Kirk Cousins went 7-7 as a starting quarterback, completing 67% of his passes, while throwing for 3,508 passing yards with 18 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. Cousins' inconsistent play will lead to the Falcons turning to Michael Penix Jr. towards the tail end of the season, and Michael will go 1-2 as a starting quarterback, completing 58% of his passes while throwing for 775 passing yards with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions and 1 rushing touchdown. The Falcons made a few notable moves in free agency, which included signing safety Jordan Fuller and linebackers Devin Diablo and Leonard Floyd. But they did lose a lot of key players in free agency, the most notable being longtime Falcon Grady Jarrett, as he would go on to sign with the Chicago Bears. And in the draft, the team would use 4 out of their 5 draft picks on the defensive side of the ball, with defensive end Jalen Walker leading the way out of Georgia. Now, in my opinion, the Falcons' ceiling is an 11-win team, but their floor is a 5-win team. But after going through their schedule for this upcoming season, I think they'll go 7-10 and go 2-4 in the NFC South. This team has a lot of good players on their roster with guys like Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and AJ Terrell. But there's still a lot of questions with this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Are they going to be able to get enough sacks this upcoming season and pressure the quarterback? And offensively, will the O-line be able to hold up Michael Penix Jr. and have him not out there scrambling for his life on the field? Now, when it comes to the Falcons, the one big question that I have for them is, can Michael Penix Jr. be that guy at the quarterback position? Because the Falcons did use a top pick on him, and he showed flashes last season, but it'll be interesting to see how things play out with him taking the first team reps and building chemistry with guys like Bijan Robinson and Drake London. And the hot take that I have for the Atlanta Falcons is, if the O-line can hold up for him, Michael Penix Jr. will throw for over 3,500 passing yards with 30 touchdowns. And also, real quick, this ain't really got nothing to do with the video, but I just have to say this. And I'm not saying this just as a Saints fan, but I'm just saying this as a football fan in general. The Falcons got to be one of the dumbest teams in the NFL. Okay, and I say that because why would you pay a guy all of that money just to draft his replacement, not only in the top 10 of the draft, but he eventually took over as the starting quarterback, not only at the end of the season last year, but now he's going to be the starter for next year, and the guy that you paid all that money to just to be the backup. Like, make it make sense, Atlanta. Whew. I just had to get that out real quick. But let's go on to number 3. Number 3, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers had a pretty up and down season last year, going 5-12 and finishing tied for 4th in the NFC South. Quarterback Bryce Young had a pretty rough start to the season, getting benched after week 2 in favor of Andy Dalton, but he would eventually find his way back into the starting lineup, and at the end of the season, he would go 4-8 as a starting quarterback for the team, completing 61% of his passes while throwing for 2,403 passing yards with 15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, while also having 249 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground. The Panthers will go on to make a few key signings in the offseason, including safety Trayvon Moehrig and wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. But the team did lose a few players in free agency, including safety Jordan Fuller, who I mentioned earlier, signing with the Atlanta Falcons, and tight end Ian Thomas, who went to sign on with the Las Vegas Raiders. And in this year's draft, the Panthers made a lot of good picks to help improve their team, including wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona in the first round, and more notable picks including Trevor Etienne, running back out of Georgia, and Jimmy Horn Jr., wide receiver out of Colorado. Now, I'll be honest, this Panthers team has a lot of potential, and that's why I didn't know what to put their record when the schedule first dropped. But I think their ceiling is going 10-7, and their floor being 4-13. But overall, I think they will go 7-10 and finish 3-3 in the division with a 500 record against the NFC South. Now, the one big question that I have for the Panthers is, can Bryce Young finally have that breakout season? Because like I stated earlier, he had that rough start to the season last year, ultimately lost his job, but got it back, and he showed why he was a #1 overall pick towards the end of the season. And I think that if he can carry that momentum from the end of the season into this year with the new weapons that he have, with a better O-line and a better defense, it'll be interesting to see if Bryce Young can finally reach his potential and have that breakout season for the Panthers. The hot take that I have for the Carolina Panthers is, with the new additions that they have at the running back position, I think they will be top 5 in the running game for this upcoming season. So if you're keeping up so far, I got the Falcons at number 4 and the Panthers at number 3. So let's go ahead and see who's at number 2. Number 2, the New Orleans Saints. The Saints will come out the gates with a blazing 2-0 start, but with injuries and inconsistent play and bad coaching, they will end up going 5-12 and a disappointing end to the 2024 season. Quarterback Derek Carr will go 5-5 as the Saints starting quarterback, completing 68% of his passes while throwing for 2,145 passing yards with 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Now, Derek will end up missing 7 games this season, first with an oblique injury after the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then he fractured his hand and suffered a shoulder injury after this play against the Giants. I still don't know why he did that in a meaningless game, but I can't fault him for going all out for the team. And when Derek was out with the injuries, quarterback Spencer Rattler in his rookie season will go 0-6 as a starting quarterback for the Saints, while completing 57% of his passes while throwing for 1,317 passing yards with 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, while also rushing for 146 rushing yards. Quarterback Jake Hayner made a few appearances during the season, but he didn't really do much when he was out there. Now, in the offseason, the team will hire former Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to be their new head coach, while also hiring the former head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley, to be their new defensive coordinator. After working their way around the salary cap, the team made a decent amount of moves in free agency, including signing former Super Bowl champion safety Justin Reed and bringing back wide receiver Brandon Cooks after starting his career with the Saints. But the team did lose a few key players in free agency, including cornerback Paulson Adebo going to sign with the Giants, Derek Carr retiring, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling signing with the Seahawks. And in the draft, the team made a total of 9 picks, including quarterback Tyler Shough in the second round out of Louisville, in a pick that had a lot of mixed reactions amongst the fan base. Now, this is a Saints team that still has a lot of talented players on their roster, and their ceiling is a 12-win team, but their floor is a 5-win team. And after looking at the schedule, I think they will go 10-7 this year, having a bounce-back year from last year, while going 4-2 in the division. Now, the one big question that I have with the Saints, and I feel that every fan of the Saints has this question, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Because Spencer Rattler, even though he went 0-6 in the starts that he had last season, I'm going to put a little context on it, okay? He was playing for the most part without a healthy offensive line. He was playing without his top 3 receivers for the most part, and the defense really didn't help him out as much, so he can only do so much. Now, that's not making any excuses for him, because you have to win at least one game when you're in the starts that you had, but I'm going to come a little slack on that. And as for Tyler Shough, I mean, the man is going to be 26 for this upcoming season. And granted, he has showed potential and he showed flashes during minicamp, but it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be able to take the reins for this starting job. Now, me personally, it doesn't really matter to me. As long as the guy goes out there and gives the team the best chance to win, that's the person that I want as my starting quarterback. But we'll see what happens in training camp and during the preseason to see who will take that starting gig for the New Orleans Saints. And whoever is the Saints starting quarterback, I think will start to gain their confidence as the season goes on. And that's why I have them finishing with 10 wins for this upcoming season. Now, the hot take that I have for the New Orleans Saints is If Tyler Shook is able to start in week 1, I wouldn't be surprised if he's entered the Rookie of the Year conversations by the end of the season. And that leaves one more team, and I'm pretty sure all you guys can guess who it is.
Number 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished with a 10-7 record and will win the NFC South for a 4th consecutive year, but they weren't able to capitalize on that momentum as they would lose to the Washington Commanders in the wildcard round. Quarterback Baker Mayfield had a breakout season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, completing 71% of his passes while throwing for 4,500 passing yards with 41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, while also having 378 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. The offseason for Tampa Bay was a relatively quiet one, as the only big loss for them was the loss of offensive coordinator Liam Cohen, as he was going to be the Jaguars head coach, and their big signing in free agency was really Hassan Reddick, and the loss in free agency was Mike Edwards going to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. And in the draft, they made a total of 6 picks, with their first round pick being wide receiver Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Now, with Tampa Bay being the reigning defending champs, I have their ceiling as a 13-win team, but their floor as a 7-win team. But I do think they will go 11-6 this year while going 3-3 in the division.
The only big question that I have for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is, can they keep running the NFC South? Okay, this has been a division that has been inconsistent to say the least, and they've been able to capitalize off the other team's inconsistency. But I'll say this. It feels like every year the NFC South always goes towards that last week in the regular season. It's never been a situation where Tampa Bay has locked it up around week 13, week 14. It always happens towards the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if that will change or that will stay the same for this upcoming season. And the hot take that I have for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a pretty simple one. I think they'll have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense for this upcoming season. And yeah, that's pretty much the video. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. And in the comment section, let me know who you think is going to win the NFC South this upcoming season. Now, you already know who I think is going to win, knock on wood. But we'll just have to see how things play out for this upcoming season. But yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. And as always, KGF, keep God first.